was in charge of the orphans, and I'd been working alongside her on compulsory work duties since my arrival at the camp. When the ceremony was done, she'd ushered a group of children out from the small crowd of onlookers, and she flashed me a radiant smile. Then she raised her arms to conduct, and together, she and the makeshift choir began to sing Serdeczna Matko, a hymn to the beloved mother. Those orphans were filthy and skinny and alone, just as I was. But they weren't sad at all in that moment. Instead, their hopeful gazes were focused on me, and they were eager to see me pleased. I wanted nothing more than to wallow in the awfulness of my situation, but the hope in those innocent eyes took priority over my self-pity. I forced myself to share with them all a bright, proud smile, and then I made myself a promise. There would be no more tears from me that day. If those orphans could be generous and brave in the face of their situation, then so could I. After that, I focused only on the music and the sound of Mrs. Conchau's magnificent voice as it rose high above and around us in a soaring solo. Her tone was sweet and true, and she scaled the melody like it was a game, bringing me something close to joy in a moment that should have been joyful, offering me peace in a moment that should have been peaceful, and dragging me back once more to a faith I kept wishing I could lose. And as that song wound on, I closed my eyes and I forced down my fear and my doubt until I could once again trust that the broken pieces of my life would fall into place one day. War had taken almost everything from me, but I refused to let it shake my confidence in the man I loved.
Chapter 1. Alice. I'm having a very bad day, but however bad I feel right now, I know my son is feeling worse. We're at the grocery store a few blocks away from our house in Winter Park, Florida. Eddie is on the floor, his legs flailing as he screams at the top of his lungs. He's pinching his upper arms compulsively. Ugly purple and red bruises are already starting to form. Eddie is also covered in yogurt, because when all of this started 20 minutes ago, he emptied the refrigerator shelves onto the floor, and there are now packages of various shapes and sizes on the tiles around him. An increasingly messy landing pad for his limbs as they thrash. The skin on his face has mottled from the exertion, and there are beads of sweat on his forehead. Eddie's medication has made him gain a lot of weight in the last few years, and now he weighs 68 pounds. That's more than half my body weight. I can't pick him up and carry him out to the car as I would have done in his early years. It didn't feel easy at the time, but back then, this kind of public breakdown was much simpler because we could just evacuate. Today's disaster happened when Eddie reached the yogurt aisle. He has a relatively broad palate for yogurt compared to his peers at the special school he attends. Eddie will at least eat strawberry and vanilla Go-Gurt. There can be no substitutions on brand or container. And no point trying to refill old tubes either, because Eddie sees right through it. It has to be Go-Gurt. It has to be strawberry or vanilla. It has to be in the tube. At some point recently, someone at Go-Gurt decided to improve the design of the graphics on the tubes. The logo has shifted and the colors are more vibrant. I'm sure no one at Go-Gurt realized that such a tiny change would one day lead to a 7-year-old boy smashing up a supermarket aisle in a bewildered rage. To Eddie, Go-Gurt has the old-style label, and this new label only means that Eddie no longer recognizes Go-Gurt as food he can tolerate. He knew we were going to the store to get yogurt. Then we came to the store, and Eddie looked at the long yogurt aisle, and he saw a lot of things, all of which he now identifies as not yogurt. I try to avoid this kind of incident, so we always have a whole shelf full of Go-Gurt in the fridge at home. If not for my grandmother's recent hospitalization, I'd have done this trip alone yesterday when Eddie was at school, before he ate the last 2 tubes, and we were running a little low on yogurt and soup, became, holy crap, the only thing we have left in the house that Eddie can eat is a single tin of soup, and he won't eat soup for breakfast. I don't actually know what I'm going to do about that now. All I know is that if Campbell's ever changes the label of their pumpkin soup tins, I'm going to curl up into a little ball and give up on life.